YouTube and welcome to another GV anime review. As you can see, back in my old recording room to get through the dark fall and winter months. And today it is time to get underway with the reviews for summer 2018. And for my first review, I thought I would start with an anime that I was pretty skeptic about, Grand Blue. I feared that this was going to be a fully blown fan service anime with no substance at all. So let's see if I had to push myself to even finish this anime. The story of Grand Blue focuses on Iori Kitahara, a first-year university student. Iori recently moved to an ocean town called Izu and hopes to have a perfect college life, mainly involving good friends and beautiful girls. But when Iori arrives at his uncle's scuba diving shop, that dream is soon shattered when he is confronted with a bunch of drunk, naked men who immediately involve him in their activities. And at the worst possible time, Iori's cousin named Chisa Kotegawa walks in and she immediately categorizes Iori as a total pervert. So things didn't start out as Iori hoped. So can he still turn the tables and achieve his dream college life? If you remember my first impressions on this anime, then you might remember that I wasn't a big fan of it. I even called it back then Facepalm Blue. And true, during the first few episodes, I really asked myself why I was watching this and what I got myself into. But if I'm wrong, I will admit it. And I have to admit that the more I watched Grand Blue, the more and more I started to like it. After a few episodes, I really got into the comedy. I am not a fan of totally over-the-top comedy, but this comedy reminded me a lot of the comedy that was used in Seitokaya Kuindomo, and that is one of my favorite comedy animes of all times. A major factor in me liking Grand Blue a lot more than I anticipated was the lack of fan service. Yes, there are nice ladies in bikinis in this anime, but it wasn't all boobs in your face like I feared it was going to be. On the contrary, this anime contains more male fan service than female, and that was totally unexpected, but it was actually a brilliant move. It made this anime stand out from all the other ecchi comedies. And the way of obvious censoring was an even brilliant move. In any other anime, I would have been so annoyed by the black circle censoring, but Grand Blue turned it into a major advantage and used it to elevate its comedy. Stepping away from the comedy, this anime was so vibrant. It showed the fun times with friends, apart from the excessive drinking and blacking out. But this anime radiated fun, and that was also showcased by the opening song. It is so much fun, and it summarizes the feeling that this anime wanted to bring to its viewers. For the negative points, I want to point out that this anime is misleading as hell. If you thought that this was going to be an anime about diving, well then you're in for a surprise. Yes, the characters are part of a diving club, and in the later episodes there is some more attention for the actual club activity, but this is not an anime about diving. It involves liquid, but it's not for diving. I mean, if at the start of every episode you get a screen-filling disclaimer that you shouldn't do excessive drinking and that all the characters are of mature age, well, that should already ring a bell. Now, the drinking part made this anime to what it was, but the die-hard diving fans will have been a little bit disappointed. And the second negative point concerns the main story of this anime, or the lack of development in it. Iori's fear of water and his quest to overcome this by earning his diver's license was supposed to be the main storyline. But because of Grand Blue not focusing on diving at all, it's only in the later episodes that this story gets to move a bit. And at the end of the anime, not a lot has actually happened. Now, besides this, you could also see the romantic development between Iori and Chisa as a secondary storyline. And I did like that aspect of Grand Blue. Now, before some of you are going to point it out, Until I was writing this review, I had totally forgotten that Iori and Chisa were cousins, and you all know how I feel about sibling love. But if we set that aside for a moment, I have to admit that I actually shipped the two of them. They had a very dynamic relationship, and if there ever was a second season of Granblue, which I highly doubt, this would be one of the main reasons for me to continue the story. So as a conclusion, if Granblue proved anything, then it is that I sometimes can be dead wrong. In the beginning, I thought that this was going to be a very shitty fan service based anime, but I was totally wrong. The further I got into Granblue, the more I started to enjoy it, and it eventually became one of my favorites of the past summer season. So overall, I am going to rate Granblue at a surprising 4 out of 5 stars. If you like ecchi comedy but don't want to be overloaded with fan service, then Granblue is definitely an anime for you. The type of comedy in Granblue made me think of some of my all-time favorite comedy animes, so naturally I am going to recommend them here. Two comedy animes that you should watch are Seito Kayaku Windomo and Konosuba. Both of them have very similar comedy styles to Granblue, and they are some of the most hilarious animes that I have seen. Different kind of recommendation is for those die-hard diving fans who were a little bit disappointed in Granblue. If you want to watch a real diving anime, watch Amanchu. I recently reviewed both the first and the second season. This anime is truly about diving and not about blackout drinking. And with that I conclude my review of Granblue. As usual, you can find the full list of all my animes and reviews over at Anime Planet. As usual, I will put a link in the description box down below. Now if you want me to review a particular anime from this list, please put it in the comments. Also, if you have a recommendation for me, put it in the comments as well. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, visit me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter and subscribe to this channel for more reviews in the future. Then I will say arigatou gozaimasu and I will see you all in the next video.